Yo, what's up? This is Sjoerd. Hey, I'm Wouter. We're Showtek and we're playing Don't Let Die Know tonight here in Amsterdam. Check it out.
Showtek, welkom in Amsterdam.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. We're back in Amsterdam and we're playing Don't Let Die Know tonight, so we're excited.
You've been playing in Scotland as well, and I saw you playing in Bangkok as well, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference between those places? Is it actually for you guys different sets, different cities, or is it like you forget where you are?
I mean, it's different cultures for sure, but I think we have a lot of like our own music that we play, so we kind of like have like half of our set like we know kind of what we want to do, but I think like we've been playing for the last 12 years like internationally all over the world, and the main thing that inspires us actually the way crowd like respond to music and how we actually bring that back into the studio and get inspired by it actually.
Because we talk to a lot of DJs, of course, and what a lot of stories you get is like when you start off as a DJ producer and you dream of traveling all over the world, and it sounds fantastic. Whoa, you hate it, but then you forget even where you are because you have so many gigs and so many places where you go.
We're not that crazy anymore, are we? No, I understand what they're saying. I mean, sometimes you just see the hotel rooms, so people think you have a very interesting life, but the traveling is mostly shows, hotels, traveling, but we decided to do around 100 shows a year, so we can also have some rest sometimes. But for example, like when you go to Asia, the way they react to the music, for example, is that they love breakdowns. But in Scotland, they just want to go like 24/7. So I mean, the main reaction is mostly the same when music plays, but like it's always a difference everywhere we go. Yeah, and I think every great job has a downside. I mean, ask Donald Trump.
I don't think he wants to talk to us.
He didn't expect this, so he thought, yeah, we'll be president, and all the shit happens. And the only bad part for us is maybe the traveling sometimes, but for the rest, it's great we're like be privileged to be like all over the world and play your music that you've been producing all over your like for the last 10 years, and it's great to share that with the rest of the world.
You guys actually look back on your own. Well, for instance, I was looking through your social media, and I always like scroll back like for a year and a half or two and see what happens. Yeah. I wrote down some stuff that I saw was typically funny. Well, yeah, especially that. But I mean, do you actually scroll back yourself, and do you think what you did like a couple of years ago?
Yeah, no. Well, we do actually. I mean, obviously we have like phones with like pictures with like tours and stuff we do, and it's always fun to look back at some tours we did back in the days. And it's good because when you look back, you also know where you come from and where you're at right now, and you see how privileged we are that we're still doing this, and the fact that we are still growing as individual persons as well, and our taste is growing, and our music is different as well than 3 years ago, and we're still going strong. That's a very great thing that we can do this, and we hope that's many more years to come for us. Yeah.
One thing that struck me, and this is a thing that is a recurring thing that people post on your timelines, is make more or make again some hardcore music. A lot of hardcore fans, a lot of hardstyle fans.
Hardstyle, yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're known by a certain thing, people want you to stay the same person. But like we obviously grow and we like grow out of things. We want new things. It doesn't mean we don't like it anymore. We just see it as like something that happened back in the days, like like same like fashion or an ex-relationship. Like it happened back then and it was fun that time, but you're beyond it and you just want to move forward. That's what that music represents for us. Like it was a great phase in our life, and we loved doing it at the time. But I'm sure our fans don't want us to fake that we love something and like be some like fools on stage. So if you're done with something, we're doing this to enjoy ourselves. So if you're beyond it, you just want to move forward.
What I like though is that the fans that were into your hardstyle music back in the days are still into it. So apparently you did something timeless there, which is of course incredible.
But you probably have a favorite album from like the 90s that you still like because it brings back some memories. So music is I think is an infinite thing, but it's also very time related in terms of popularity, and I think hardstyle was great in those years and was a big scene back then. But the growth opportunities were limited, so we kind of stepped away from it when we felt like we reached the max and it was time for the next thing.
So where do you see this go actually? Because I mean, your music is evolving, you're producing way more, getting into pop music actually now. Where do you see this go? Where do you want it to go?
Well, the thing is, we always we just talked about it as well. Like every few years, we feel like we have to reinvent ourselves a little bit, and I want to come back to the fact that
as an individual person, you grow as well. So your taste changes and stuff. So you also want to reflect it into your music. So the music keeps changing every year and shifting every 3 years. I don't want to say we always do something like crazy new, but always try to reinvent yourself. And if you see where we come from techno to hardstyle to more like bigger EDM music, and now we try to influence a little bit more crossover pop songs. We're trying to be just different every few years, and to also keep it interesting for ourselves. And but there's always this Showtek signature under our tracks, and no matter if it's the energy or the sound or a drop, I think, and if you listen to every song we do, oh yeah, that's Showtek. And as long as we can keep doing that by mixing every kind of genre there is on this planet, or even making something new that doesn't even exist yet, that's our goal for the next 2 years.
We love every kind of music, and we also want to broadcast that and play to people what we feel like would be cool. And we don't want to stick to the same sound and stuff, because we'll get bored, and then eventually crowd will be bored and will be saturated. So I think we love reggae music, we love hip hop music, and we want to infuse that into our sound actually. And it's also great to keep challenging yourself, because if you don't challenge yourself, you don't evolve, and you get stuck in a certain moment. So if we have fun in the studio and coming up with new stuff, that's the most exciting part of our jobs. And if we're just doing what people want us to do, then we'll be very depressed in a few years.
But that's also something that comes with the traveling. I mean, of course, people, it's sometimes heavy and stuff. But the great side is that you get so many different opportunities to get inspired. You can be sitting in a taxi and hear something, or you see a different a view while you hear certain music, and you get inspired. So like traveling and seeing different cultures always inspires us to make music. If we would only be producers, we wouldn't have that stage experience to know what we need to be doing in the studio. So you need both worlds to make sure that we can deliver that we want to deliver. Like only DJing doesn't work either. You need to be in the studio. So I think as long as we are happy, we do great shows, and we keep discovering new places to go, I think we can just grow to a level where we want to be. Yeah. And success is not a number. Success is just as long as we're happy, that's success.
Hey, we're here at Don't Let Daddy Know. Everybody wants to have a great event and a great concept for an event. It's very hard to be successful. Why do you think this Don't Let Daddy Know thing is so successful? Actually?
Well, the guys worked very hard, and they don't know the word like giving up. And we've known them for a while, and they've booked us on a lot of their events. So we're very thankful for that, of course. But also, I think they had a plan in mind, and they're very determined to, put up like a great name first of all. I think was a great name for the festival, and they expanded to the right countries and build up a brand. And this business is, like building a festival is building a huge brand. Amongst all the other ones, it's already hard. You have to be some sort of unique, and I think their concept is great, and also how they now put it all across the world. I think that's really impressive. And they had a plan in mind, otherwise it would have never worked. I think that comes with anything. Also with music, we plan kind of where we want to head towards. Otherwise, if you don't have a vision, you can never follow. So then you don't know where you're going. So I think it's important to know exactly what you want to put out, and then you go for that.
Hey, of course, I'm a believer, and we have to wrap this up because 5 million other people want to talk to you. This is way too cozy. Of course, a very great track together with Major Lazer, a fantastic video. Actually, a heavy video. I think it's quite a statement for.
Well, we really we sat down with the director and the videographer to do something really unique. Obviously, the whole Syria issue was very big at that moment, and it still is. But at that moment when it happened, that we were inspired by it, and we always say that the world belongs to everybody. I think everybody has the same rights, and we are so privileged in this world that we can do. And some kids don't even grow up having that opportunity. So seeing kids running away from all the trouble that's happening in the world that we don't even know because we only see it on TV. But what those kids go through must be a hell, So to put that in picture was also very risky thing, because we had to actually go to the Middle East to film it, and there were some difficulties, but the outcome was amazing. And if you look at the message, that this kid is not afraid in the end of the story, because he grabs the hand of the monster in the end, makes sure that he wants to fight him, but he lets go of his fear, and he's a believer. He thinks that he can. He doesn't even know what the real war is, because he's just a kid. So he ends up in his imagination about what's happening around him. And I think that story is so strong. By the end of the video in the desert, with that's like priceless. It's
and it's not that we want to be like Mother Teresa's and stuff, but we feel like we have such a big following. We've worked hard to get it to a certain point, and now we also feel like if we can do something, we want to say something. And we have more songs coming up as well. Not every song is going to have like the same message, but we feel there's so much going on in this world. And if we would just like, it's a quote by the Apple CEO, but if you're just looking at it and just standing there, it feels like you're doing nothing and you're actually agreeing to what's happening in the world. And I think at this certain point, like in our lives as well, like we've like traveled a lot, we're privileged. I think we should also use like our social power and to hear make people's voices heard and I think to speak out sometimes, because it's important that maybe we can, even if we have an impact on one kid, like changing its mind, also giving a kid like a great opportunity to think differently or be a role model. I think that's really important.
Finally, guys, with a statement and a political vision on music, I love that. Can you make my day even better by telling me that there's a new album due with a lot of great tracks and new stuff?
Well, we have a lot of music like finished and in the making. An album is discouraged by every manager in the world, but I mean, we can like release a song every month. We have a pretty cool new song coming up with GCs in the room here as well, and that's more like a positive message to like younger kids, like inspire them to be able to do anything in their life that they want to do. And we also want to help them more by showing them like good things, and maybe even help them more like personally later, like doing stuff for them actually. And I think for us it's important to do more than just music.
What, to give you an answer on the album, we want to. It's on our in our head. It's on our list to do it, but it's not planned yet. But I think as artists, it fits us to have an album because it just represents the artistic side.
I had an idea today, but I didn't share it with you yet. But like,
but let's not share
yeah.
it with the fans.
Yeah, no. I'll share it later. I think it's a good idea. I have a good concept in my head now for something we should do this
But
year.
right now we're gonna get a drink and we have to go to the stage, so we're gonna do that first. And we're gonna thank you for this interview.
Hey, thanks so much for your time, guys.